Yes, people, what's good? Hope you're all good and well. Talk Man is back. Race for Europe is back. And although there's not been any European football, we are here to talk FA Cup action. In fact, we're here to talk about Arsenal, Man United. We saw Liverpool go and beat Accrington Stanley. Who are they? I have to say who are they after every time you say Accrington Stanley. Salford got absolutely battered. Every time City went forward, I thought they were going to score. Chelsea battered Morecambe. Villa beat West Ham, which, to be fair, Bill, I could actually ask you on. And then United, I'm sure you're very happy because yesterday you went from penalties against us and our Motley lot were really, really embarrassing. Yeah, again, which is what I kind of expected. I thought that Man United would win 2-1 in extra time. That was my prediction, but I never thought that we would play this badly and it would go to penalties. We can't blame the referees this time because the referee was on our side. That was never a penalty in a million years, in my opinion, and they actually went down to 10 men. So I can't really understand why the referee's not getting blamed, because I thought that when Arsenal lose games, the fan base blame the ref. That's normally what happens. Couldn't do that this time, could ya? Could not do that this time. Big up to everyone that's here. Big up to Billy. Big up to Errol. Big up to Charlie, Dan, and LB. Don't know if Deji's coming or not. I can't lie. I've no idea. I have sent him the link. I don't know if he's in the country, out of the country, or what he's doing at the moment, to be fair. But they got a fantastic win against Tamworth. So fair play to Tottenham. They are still in it. I can't laugh too hard because they're in it and we're out of it. First couple of things to do, of course, is to go with the sponsors of the show, which is Reality Raffles. Make sure you're in with a chance to win an opportunity to get to a football game of your choice. So please make sure that you are following them. Links in the description. You've got a great opportunity to get to some football games, £500 match day experience, and some instant win opportunities as well. So please make sure you're there. That's being drawn on Friday. So get your tickets available as ever. Use the code FTM10 and you can get your tickets and 10% off. Also, make sure you're scanning the QR code and joining us live on This Is London, the Hippodrome Casino on the 24th of January. We've got a lot of people that are now signing up and starting to say they're going to meet us and greet us, which will be great to see you all in person. So please make sure you do that, people. That would be great to see you guys there. It is a ticket-only event for obvious reasons. Hopefully I'll see you all there. And it'll be good to see you all in person. And we can talk about how fantastic Arsenal Football Club is, which is what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to go around and just give you all a couple of minutes, really. I kind of didn't really do that on Saeed's channel, but that was obviously because I wasn't hosting. But earlier on, that was basically what happened. Everyone had their say. So I just want everyone to have 2 minutes about what they think about Arsenal's situation right now this weekend. We will get to Man United, Dan. I just want to concentrate on Arsenal for now. I am just in bits about it, really. Deflated, peeved off. Oh, you're on mute. Sorry, Dan. And Billy... I'll start with you. I know you don't really have any kind of hatred towards particularly Arsenal or Manchester United either way, so you're kind of in the middle here, neutral. You probably hate Dan United at times because he winds you up, but as far as you're concerned, you're pretty neutral, mate. So talk to me about where you're at, mate. And I said this earlier to the boys when I was with Judges. Try to do it not from a Villa perspective. Try to do it from how you are as a fan. We all know what you're like as a fan, right? Try and imagine you're an Arsenal fan right now. What would you be wanting to happen? Where would your fingers point of a blame be? How would you be feeling, bro? Talk to me.
I feel sorry for people like you and Turkish, to be honest with you. I thought Arsenal, the performance yesterday and for the past couple of weeks has just been shocking. But I think the bigger picture is didn't do enough in the summer. You got lucky last season with the injuries. This season, you've obviously had injuries. And I think the board or Arteta or whoever's in charge just thought that you might get lucky again this season. And it's come back to bite you on the arse. So I think that they're massively at blame for what's going on. And I feel, like I say, feel sorry for people like yourself, people like Turkish who can see that bigger picture. But the majority of the Arsenal fan base, it seems, are just stuck on Arteta, and it's everyone else's fault, and he's in the clear. I just think it's absolutely baffling. And I think everything that you and Turkish said in your fan cams yesterday was ridiculous. Was spot on, sorry. Robbie asking you if you was going over the top. How you managed to keep your lid on that, I've no idea, because I just think with the emotions of the game and immediate fan cam afterwards, how you managed to keep your lid on that was fairly
Billy,
impressive.
That pause he did as well when Robbie started and you just got to go.
Yeah, It was the deep breath. Yeah, it's just an absolute shambles, and I think the fact that you've got murals of a dog, Kai Havertz, a set piece coach just epitomizes everything. To be honest with you, I think it was a really good point that was brought up on the fan cams, and I think if as a Villa fan going to games or as an Arsenal fan going to games, I don't want to be seeing people like that. I want to. On the walk to the stadium, you want to be seeing these legends, your Bergkamps, your Henrys, your Vieiras, your players like that, your Tony Adams, proper club legends, something to properly get inspired about when you go into the ground. Not walking past a set piece coach that's got scored a couple of set pieces, not a dog, not Havertz, who we all know isn't as good as what some Arsenal fans are trying to make him out to be. You want to be inspired when you walk into walking into the stadium, and that will cause the atmosphere to get up. Everyone's up for it. Everyone's raring to go because they're inspired from the legends of the past. But it's just a shambles at Arsenal.
It is, mate. It is. Errol, you and I have spoke on WhatsApp about this, and to be fair, you haven't really changed your tune with Arsenal over the last few years. I think, to be fair, last season you started to give Arteta a little bit of respect. The fact that he'd put some pressure on Klopp and Pep and started to be recognised as one of those managers that could actually compete with them. But that's probably the only praise you've ever given him and that he's ever deserved, to be honest, in my eyes. And I think you see it like that, bruv. What do you think happens next for Arsenal? Because as a fan base, I get frustrated because I feel like I know what I want, but I know what I'm going to get, if that makes sense, bro.
Well, I was literally just going to say, do you want what should happen next, or do you want what is going to happen next?
Give me both in your eyes.
What should happen next, in all fairness, is you allow, and I know it doesn't sound great to hear it, you let him see out the rest of the season, because by doing that, you just give him the courtesy, and he's charitable enough to say, you've got us this far, you've seen out the season, by hook or crook, the expectation is silverware. If you fail to deliver on silverware, you have failed to deliver on the objectives that this board has had within your contract or within the negotiations and the agreements that we've had in private for multiple seasons. You told us when Klopp came into Liverpool, his first presser, 5 years and we'll win the Premier League. He put it out. He had chest in the moment to put it out there and say, I'm going to live by the sword and I'm going to die by the sword. And I'm going to have to be a man of my words, or I'm going to have to check and bounce. Arteta hasn't necessarily done that, but he has alluded to the fact that it is about winning at Arsenal. And ultimately, if that is the case, it's the Champions League, the Premier League, or bust. And if he doesn't do that, him as a manager will obviously be getting a paycheck. He's got the extended contract. He's not going to want to go. You're going to have to force him out. So ultimately, the club should give him until the end of the season in order to make his bed and lie in it. And if he doesn't, and he doesn't come with the goods, he then has to go. And there, from that point on, Arsenal should look to, again, recruit another manager in now. And you can say, man, I know you say you want a bona fide winner. We stepped into the unknown with Arne Slot. Didn't know what kind of caliber of manager was. We just believed that we had a squad that was ready to challenge and capable of challenging. And you just had to get a coach that would play the right system, the right style of football, and try and get a little bit more out of the players than the previous manager at that last 12 months have been able to do. You need to do something of the same sort of thing in that respect, whether that is you go and get a manager of higher caliber and one that's recognized, so he's got the authority in the dressing room, or you get a coach that is exciting and he's an up-and-coming prospect that isn't just out of the Pep Guardiola's assembly line of apprentices, because there's only a handful of those that are really going to make it at that level. Not every single one, just because they've been underneath Pep's coattails, are going to win. What I think will happen is you will continue to fall away. You will have enough results so that your fan base will say it's not all bad all the time. It'll be up and down, up and down. You still will fall short in the Champions League. You'll get knocked out in probably the quarterfinals this year against a team that on another day you probably could have beat, and you probably end up on a clearer pathway to the final. So it's almost one of them. It's a double blow, because if you'd have just got your job done in the quarterfinals, that will probably be the biggest game. Thereafter, you will probably fall short in the Premier League. You will finish in the top 4, and the board and the hierarchy will keep him, and you will spunk another 150 mil in the transfer market, and you'll get a couple of players, but you won't actually address and flesh out. And this is the one thing, and this is the one myth that I think all fans need to take on board, and I'm fed up of hearing it from all fan bases, my own included. There is not one football team in world football that addresses every single department and has everything on lock in every single transfer window. Teams and managers are there to make do with what they've got and to utilize the tools that they have. What they should do, on the other hand, is they should block off the priority areas. There should be 2 or 3 priority areas within that squad that you either fill with experience, you fill with someone that could be up and coming, and you fill with somebody that's been informed in the last 12 months that's ready to take that next leap. But they need to be addressed in your 3 key areas. After that, you're looking at your manager and the rest of the team to all step up to improve the levels on the year before. I'm fed up of everybody moaning because, you know, the team hasn't fully fleshed out. We haven't got a striker, we haven't got a left back, we haven't got a centre back. We haven't got 5 players in every single. That is a myth. There's never been a team that is completely from back to front, got every single area locked off and then got adequate replacements on the bench. It doesn't happen. We've looked at the City team for a number of years, and LB will tell you, last season in particular, he was screaming that they haven't got 2 teams. Everybody was looking at them saying, oh, hell, you know, Man City have got 2 sides to play week in, week out, and you can alternate, and the quality's still there. LB will tell you there wasn't that quality. 22 players that he could rely on, and he could field every single week. There has to be an understanding that there's a balance between addressing the priority areas and, as a manager, working with what you've got to get the best out of what sources and resources you've got.
What I find frustrating with that, though, Errol, just to touch on your point before I come to Charlie, right, is he keeps using 2 words in press conferences that's doing my head in. Internal solutions, right? The transfer window's open, by the way, right? He's using internal solutions. Well, his internal solution to Saliba when he was out 2 years ago was Rob Holding. He can't get in the Crystal Palace side, right? His internal solution for Odegaard was to use Trossard there to stink out the joint, and then too late use Ethan Nwaneri, who's now out injured. And when Saka's now out, he's tried to use Sterling, he's tried to use Jesus, he's tried to use God knows who, right? And it hasn't worked. So these internal solutions thing is just an absolute mess, to be fair. And he keeps going on about it. We need to find internal solutions to Saka. We need to find... What are you doing here?
Yay! I couldn't miss it. I could not miss this.
Again, this is the thing, though, Potts. You say internal solutions, and yet you can look at individuals and players that you would like to come in or even step up for you. But there have got to be styles of play. How about you try and score goals in open play? How about you work on your transitions? How about you have different ways of scoring goals? That is an internal solution that, as a team, you work on. So when you end up in certain areas, like most of you will agree, from a defensive standpoint, if you end up with a corner against Liverpool, you're more wary about overgoing gung-ho for it because Liverpool will kill you off on the counter. That speed of transition in the way that we attack, it doesn't matter who gets on the end of it. This weekend, it was fucking Núñez getting on the end of something to tee up Jota on a plate. So it doesn't matter. We know that that's an approach and that's something as an internal solution we can go to. There was no Salah, there was no Diaz, there was no Gakpo. But that is a goal that you guys have seen from Liverpool almost week in, week out for the majority of this season. They are also internal solutions. Mikel Arteta's one was, we're just going to be Stoke FC for 6 months of the season and hope that we can fluke a league by doing it. It's not good enough.
It's crazy, man. Lawrence makes a good shout with a super chat as well. We now have a backup keeper who'll never see play for Arsenal because he was cup tied for the Carabao Cup and we're out of the FA Cup, which he didn't play in it. Wonder how much he's getting a week for just sitting on the bench. I could do his job now. What a lovely, lovely season he's got, I tell you. Look, Charlie, you're a fan of a club who's quite ruthless in terms of what Roman was at Chelsea. Is it time for Arsenal's ownership to become a little bit more ruthless as far as you're concerned, or do you think Arteta deserves more time?
No, well, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, absolutely. He should be gone. I mean, I think you, like Errol said, you probably wait to the end of the season. I don't really know what difference making a change right now would make, but this is where we find out whether Arsenal are a serious football club and actually want to win the big prizes, or they're back to the Wenger days where they're just happy with a top four and just being up there. That's what we're going to find out at the end of the day. And also in this January window, if you don't go and buy anyone, that will tell us the answer to the question. You've got a manager who's being paid £15 million a season, right? And that expectation there is you deliver trophies and you win the big ones. We're not talking League Cups or FA Cups. We're talking a Premier League or a Champions League. And Errol's right with what he says about recruitment, but all of us here know, right? You have to be an Arsenal fan to know how many years have you needed a striker for, and how many years have you needed a replacement for Bukayo, an alternative for Bukayo Saka? Multiple years, right? And window after window goes by, loads of money gets spent, and those two priority areas, which are key and would make a big difference right now, fail to get addressed. You spend £65 million on Kai Havertz, who wasn't needed. And that's suddenly the answer. Oh, he can play number 8. He can do this. He can do that. No, he can't. And so you're in a position now. You've got a January window. Arsenal spend money, by the way. You know, the Kroenkes do spend, by the way. I don't know where this thing comes from that, oh, you know, Arteta's not been backed or whatever. He absolutely does get backed. But I don't know how much say he's got in recruitment. But, you know, some of the people, I'm seeing Arsenal fans in the summer pots, not you obviously, but saying it was like an 8 out of 10 window. You didn't address anything. You signed Mikel Moreno, a goalkeeper who's never going to play for the club, and I can't remember who else it was, but it was a crap window, and that there should have been
Sterling from Hughes.
Oh yeah, and Sterling as well. Yeah, but he barely plays. To be fair, he was actually all right yesterday, but. Yeah, that's the point, though. Is that the window of a team that is serious about winning the Premier League when you go so close last season? Does that tell any of us Arsenal are serious about winning the league this year when you see them do their window? No, it doesn't. So that's where I'm at with it. Is that he'll stay, he'll sign his new contract. There's 15 million quid a year in the pocket, and you won't sign a replacement for Saka. You won't sign a backup striker, and you will continue to regress like you have this season, like you have, you know, since, you know, over the past couple of seasons, and nothing will really change. And Arsenal will go back to being what they were, just happy to finish in the top four like they were under Arsene Wenger, and they'll become irrelevant again. And none of this should be a surprise. You look back to the summer, and the writing was on the wall that something like this was going to happen. So I don't have any sympathy for Arteta, but I can understand Arsenal fans' frustrations. But at the end of the day, this is what Arsenal have always been. They go close, they play some nice football or whatever, but the ownership are just happy coming in the top four, and they probably will still finish in the top four, and that's going to be the cycle. I think, Potts, you boys have missed your chance of winning the big trophies. Last year was the year, and now I think, you know, you're going to slip away, and it could be another 10 years.
Yeah, I think it could be easily, mate, with this ownership. Lawless, what are you saying?
Look at that smile. Look at that smile.
Welcome back, baby. Welcome back,
baby.
To come back to the show. My gosh, it was a thing of beauty. I was absolutely feasting. It was a full-on buffet of Arsenal content last night. I still haven't even got through it all. It is beautiful. And it just makes it all the sweeter that, you know, it was on this show that I pretty much said this would happen. I would like some apologies from the chat, the Arsenal fans. We can mend fences and come together. But I said progression isn't linear. You're not going to keep getting better and better. You have to get over the line now, because it's like, you know, okay, you got better in year 2 than year 1, but doesn't mean necessarily, okay, year 3, we're going to get even better. And in year 4, we're going to get even better. And we're going to get better and better and better. You have to take them moments, and you didn't. And as has been said, Arteta's now had 6 years to build a squad, and you're still sitting there going, we need a striker, we need a right winger, a left winger, a fucking left back. How many more left backs do you want? Because you're going to need to sign some more after signing, like 15 of them? And you're going to need to sign more left backs. And this is Arteta's squad building. So for people that say, oh, you know, like Arteta, he doesn't have this tool, we don't have the striker, we don't have this. He chose this. He chose Kai Havertz. He chose Raheem Sterling. He chose all the left backs in the world. This is on him. So we can't sit there and say he's the victim of the squad that he's got. Are you going to trust him with another 700 mil? Really? Are we going to now look at Marcus Rashford and go and sign Rashford to fix him because he wants to do the fixer-upper business? Like Charlie said, like you missed your moment. You missed your moment, and it couldn't be more.
Is that because of Arteta? Did you blame Arteta for that? Is he the one?
Yeah, of course he's the one. Like, listen, you all obviously have to give him credit to get you to a point, but you have to be ruthless. And this is the thing, you're not ruthless. It's like, cool, you've got us here. Now we go the guy that's going to take us over the line. Sorry, you weren't able to do it. We thank you. Here's a payoff. Now we move forward. It's what England should have done earlier with Southgate, because he's not the man to get England over the line. He wasn't. Hopefully they haven't left it too late. And this is what the situation is. And I said to you, Potts, and you probably are still too stubborn to admit it, you really ought to have not spent 105 million on Declan Rice. You should not have done that. You was all loving it. You was loving it. Rice, baby. Din, 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 din. And now look, I'm not saying he's bad for you, but is it what you need? What could you have done with that 105 million pounds? Where could that have gone? Could you, if you take Declan Rice out of this team, right? Are you gonna, not be in title race? You're gonna be what, mid-table? No. If you took Rice out the team and replaced him with an Isak, if you signed an Isak or a player of that quality, you probably win the league. So
it's just
you
an example, Pete. Don't worry.
Rice. It's true. You're gloating over Rice.
Not.
It's not what you needed to be spending 105 million pounds on. Yeah, it's nice to have Rice. You can do with him. It's great. He's a great player. But it was a waste of money to spend that much on him. Look at him. He's not even been that good this season.
I was going to say, sorry to put in, Dan, but with this Rice situation, I said to you the other day, like, for the first 20, 25 minutes, I didn't even realize he was on the pitch on Tuesday. Did not even realize he was even playing. Like, in your opinion, watching him now, from what Lawless has said, has he regressed for you? Because it seems like that for me, and I don't watch him like religiously every week, but it looks like he's not the same player that you signed from West Ham a couple of years ago.
So there's two things to it. The reason he's regressed, because he has. A lot of people said it was because he played too much football, right? So I looked at that and I thought, maybe he has, maybe. He's played a lot for England and Arsenal.
Played a lot for West Ham, by the way.
And played a lot for West Ham, right? So I looked at it and I thought, maybe it is that then, because he don't look the same player to me. And then I started to look at what Arteta was asking him to do. And I thought, nah, it's not Rice who's the problem. It's not Rice who's the problem. We're trying to turn him into a Cesc Fabregas, mate. Lawless, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think he's a Cesc Fabregas player, right? So when he was at West Ham and he was in the six, and when he was getting player of the match awards for us and looked phenomenal, because he did. I mean, he walked into player of the season for Arsenal and team of the season last year because he was superb in the six, not in the attacking midfield role. Against Brighton, he was playing in the Odegaard position, people. Real talk. Go back and watch it. Yeah. So if you spend 105 million pounds on a player and actually think, I'm not too sure that I want to play him in the six. Let's see if he can do it in the 8. Now let's see if he can do it in the 10. I'm blaming that on the manager, not the player. And if I'm honest with you, he's been a bit more of jack of all trades, master of none this season, Declan Rice, because he's been doing quite a lot of defending. He's been doing quite a lot of box to box. He's doing quite a lot of link up plays. He's been doing quite a lot of attacking. He's been doing quite a lot of drive on the ball. Let's just be real. He came on yesterday and was our best attacker, and he's our number 6. That's how bad it's got at the moment. He is absolutely wasted under this manager.
What a genius, by the way, moving to Arsenal to win trophies. How's that turning out for him? How's that going? Because guess what? His only trophy that he's won was at West Ham United.
I don't blame Rice, though. I don't blame Rice, though. I blame Arteta.
No, I blame him for choosing Arsenal. That was a stupid move.
But if you're sold that dream, you can see why Rice is like, I can either stay at West Ham or I can go and move to Arsenal.
I told him to go to Man City. Guess what? He would have been.
You told him to go.
You told him. You ring him up. Ring him up and say, "Get to City, Rice."
But guess what? Oh, I don't want to leave London. I don't want to leave my mummy and daddy. Like whatever. Like you could have been a treble winner, mate. You could have had it all. You could have had it all, Rice. But he went to Arsenal to win. That's almost as bad as going to Spurs to win trophies. Not as bad, but in this day and age, it's almost as bad. It was a bad move for both clubs. In my opinion,
what makes it worse with the Rice situation as well, and maybe Dan United can kind of relate, when you spend that level of money on that type of player to be transformative, because that was the word we all used. He has to be transformative. He has to have that Van Dijk level impact on your squad to galvanize you, to push you over the line. Dan United did it with Harry Maguire, 75 mil. At that time, wanted to make him one of the most expensive defenders in the world. And he was supposed to help bring that Man United side back to the helm.
He was the best player on the pitch yesterday, Harry Maguire.
Hey, my man, say out your fucking mouth, mate. That man is a fucking rock solid boy at the moment.
I'm not disputing that his redemption arc hasn't been nothing but miraculous. But at the time where you wanted to be and where you thought you was going to be by signing him, it didn't work. It wasn't the player that you need. It wasn't the signing that you needed at the time to fit your system. Declan Rice is suffering at this moment in time from being misprofiled massively. And I think the problem with that Potter's just nailed there is he is probably your most versatile and available centre mid. Odegaard's had his injury issues this year. Partey's been used as a utility right back, even though you got Timber in last season to get him to be the right back. So in terms of having someone that can consistently sit in the middle of the park and understand all of the roles that's required, it doesn't mean that he's going to be a 10 out of 10 at all of those roles, but he is the one that you can turn to and say, all right, well, you can do a little bit of a job for me in the 8 or do a little bit job further up as well and be a bit of a half 8, half 10 type of player and that type of profile. And Declan Rice hasn't, again, not been able to turn around and say, well, lad, I got brought in to be a 6. Let me just sit in and have the players around me.
And I don't know what Declan Rice is thinking there either, because if the plan was to come and bring him in and go to the 8 or the 10, he should have at the time said, oh, that's not really where I see my future. I'm a 6, or I was a centre-back, now I'm a holding midfielder. I don't see me as a 10 or an 8. I'm going to stay put here, or I'm going to go and see if Pep can play me alongside Rodri or whatever it be, because that's what should have happened. Because it wouldn't have played 6 at Man City, because obviously Rodri plays there, right? And in the system that Pep's there, he would have had to play the 8 at City. So he would have been put forward at City as well, I imagine, unless Pep completely changed and went with a double pivot. I like Rice in a double pivot with Partey. I think it's fine. The problem I've got is he ain't in there. And he ain't just Rice, by the way. He's tried to be versatile with Havertz and it ain't worked. As you say, or he's put Partey at right back, it's not worked. But look, I'm going to leave Pete and Dan to last because they've actually played this in the last few days. LB, where do you stand, bruv? I speak to you a lot and I think I know, but tell the people where you're at, bruv.
Awful transfer window. Didn't do what you needed to do. You needed to go and get the X Factor players. You didn't. You went and got squad rotational players. Players have dropped off form. That's on the manager. The style of play is awful. That's on the manager. You don't score goals. That's on the manager. I think you've just stagnated in it. You've stalled. Your progression has stalled as a football club. Like 2 years ago, you should have won the league. You bottled it. You then really didn't kick on. You didn't do enough last year. You didn't win it again. And you've got to keep going and you've got to keep pushing. It's hard to win this Premier League. Do you know what I mean? Yes, my club's won 4 in a row. They've not been easy. Yeah, they've not been easy. And Michael's been out here buying Haalands and Gavardiols and all this. It's not easy, man. It's not easy to win the Premier League. And this summer, you should have gone in big time and spent big cash and bought a big striker and showed everyone that you're serious. And you didn't. And that's why you're not going to win the league. You're not going to win the Champions League. So your season's over.
LB, just when you're on that point there, yeah, you're saying that we all sound, no offense, but we all sound bored. I feel sorry for the chat having to listen to us as non-Arsenal fans addressing your problems, because how us, a Villa fan, a Liverpool fan, a Chelsea fan, a Hammers fan, and a City fan, and I can imagine the Newcastle and Man United fan all going to have similar views. How can we all see the problems and Arsenal fans that live and breathe it day in, day out can't, and they are blind?
Well, I'll tell you the answer to that. So some Arsenal fans can, like Potsy and on these guys, yeah. But then the Arsenal fans that are bought into the story, the Arsenal fans that are bought into the dream ending, they aren't, because for them, if they accept what needs to be done, they have to accept that the story ain't going to plan. And they don't want to do that. They just want to be like, no, it's fine, everything's fine, everything. They're in denial. They're in denial. Do you think, Errol, yeah, really, that these Arsenal fans, yeah, that were saying that they didn't need a strike?
If your girl's coming home to the yard every night smelling the next man's fucking Paco Rabanne and smelling a Sauvage and all these things, how long do you want to live in denial for before you tell that girl, get out of the house? We're not doing this. You're cheating on me, and I'm not having it.
Errol always brings it down to relationships, man. Every single analogy is about a
Errol,
woman, man.
who broke your heart, mate? Tell us, who broke your heart? I'm not worried about it. They keep coming.
At least he made me smile, man. At least he made me laugh. LB, before I move to the boys, man, just quickly, you and I spend quite a lot of time on the terrace talking about this, but there is a section of the fan base that tell me that I'm deluded for wanting the best of the club. And I'm not going to sit there and say who's right, who's wrong, because I don't really care, if I'm honest, who's right or who's wrong. Do you think there's any defence from those fans right now that are still believing in Mikel Arteta to get us across this line? Or do you think there's any belief that he could do this? Or is it just all hope? Because I just think they're hoping, bro. I don't think there's any evidence.
Yeah, so it's hope, yeah. So I think your season's over, right? However, we have to accept that you could win the league if Liverpool fell off. And who knows, maybe you could win the Champions League. I don't think you're going to do either of them things, which is why I think your season's over, right? But I can't criticise an Arsenal fan for saying the season's not over, we're still in 2 competitions, because that's factually correct and fair enough, right? However, the people that have got a problem with you, yeah, there's one very, very easy way for people like you, Gunnar, yeah, Turkish, to shut up. Win trophies. Fact. If you start winning trophies, yeah, you'll have to shut up, because if you keep going on and being negative when you're winning, then people will be like, yo, what's going on here? But the fact is, you don't win anything. So that justifies you calling out the club and saying this ain't right. It's not rocket science. Win, fans happy. Me, LB, very, very stress-free for the last 4 years. Why? Because we win. This year, LB stressed. Why? Because LB City's team not winning, innit? You know what I mean? That's how it goes. That's how it goes, bro. Win, happy fans. Lose, not happy fans. It's not rocket science, man. Arsenal start winning trophies. I'm sure you'll be very happy. But until you do, you're well within your rights to have a little pop at the club where they're not doing what they should be doing.
I think,
and also, yeah, this is so true. Yeah, can I just point this out? Yeah, big up Badger in the chat. Yeah, why do you have the second highest paid manager in world football?
It's a joke,
genuine question. Genuine question. What has he done in football to justify that way? Why is he on that?
He brought the feeling back.
In football as well.
Yeah, Lawrence put it in the chat. Newcastle fan, big up.
That's a mad thing. If you was to sign a contract and do something, so I say for example, because we all do content, if TNT or Sky came and offered you a job now and you got a 6-month stint and all of a sudden you're getting a day rate, that day rate now has set the precedent for your day rates going down the line in your career. Where else in world football is going to employ this man as a job?
No one's paying him that much money anywhere else, nowhere near.
Well, how many of you would take him as your manager? Hands up.
No.
Right. So what the hell are we paying him £15 million a year for when no one wants him? I don't get it.
It's not like Real Madrid are the fan base believing again, Potts. You're believing.
It's pathetic, mate. That's what it is. You're not got Real Madrid knocking on the door. Pep Guardiola's going apparently in a couple of years. LB's like, oh, I don't want Arteta after him. So why are we trying to cling on to him for $15 million a year? I'll tell you why. It's exactly what Turkish has said. Kroenkes has said, we'll give you $15 million a year and you keep that stum. You keep
that's your club, though, isn't it?
He's the shield. He's the shield now. Like
he is the shield.
That's the truth, bro. The thing is, yeah, with it as well, yeah, is like at the end of the day, he's got to win something, mate. And if he doesn't win something, yeah, then at what point do you actually start calling it out if you're like a mad Arteta in guy? You know what I mean? Because, bro, you should be winning shit, man. And people always say to me, yeah, I'm sure the boys get it on the panel as well, but people always say to me, oh, LB, why you always say this shit about Arsenal? I'm like, well, I'll tell you why, yeah, because when I was growing up, yeah, Arsenal was actually like a fucking massive club who used to win shit. And I'm here watching Arsenal fans, yeah, when you've not won anything for 5 years. This guy spent £750 million and I'm still looking there. And I think you said it on one of your fan cams yesterday, one of your 3 fan cams, that you still need another 5 players. And I'm sitting here going, bro, you're all just accepting it. Well, not all of them, but like a lot of you guys are just accepting it. Yeah, but you just hate Arsenal. No. When I was growing up, bro, yes, it was shit. I wanted Arsenal to do well because otherwise it was United or Liverpool. I got nothing against United. I got nothing against Arsenal. I'm just trying to wonder why some of your fan base is just constantly accepting not winning.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I don't get it, mate. I don't get it either. I think what they are running out of now is excuses, because beforehand it was like, oh, come on, it's a process. It's going to take time. That's excuses to not win anything. Oh, come on, he's just walked in. It's his first job. That's excuses not to win anything. Oh, it's Pep Guardiola. He's too good. That's an excuse not to win anything. Honest with you, it's just crazy. Oh, my Wi-Fi is moving mad. Am I back? Can you hear me?
No, you're good. You're good.
Back, yeah.
Oh, I'm good. That was mad. All of you went off screen and now you've reappeared in different places for me. I don't know what's gone on there. Anyway, for me, it's mad. It's just a madness for me. I don't get any of it.
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me on that?
Yeah.
Potsy, let me ask you a question. Yeah. Do you actually think your club's going to do anything in the January transfer window?
I'm going to say yes, because I think it has to now that Jesus,
Serious. I'm not talking like some dead ball. I'm talking
mate, we'll get like a loan deal or something. That'd be it, bro. We won't be serious. We ain't going to go and sign Gyökeres or bloody go and get a elite winger. We ain't going to do that.
But why couldn't you have gone for Kvaratskhelia? I know he wants to go to PSG or whatever. Why couldn't you have just put a bid in? It's like 60 million quid. Why? Why wouldn't you just try?
I'd have loved to have done that, bro. I'd love to have done that, but I don't think we've got any ambition to get anyone through the door like that. I don't think we've got a lovely transfer window right now with loads of release clauses. There's a release clause of Nico Williams. There's a release clause of Lookman. There's a release clause of Gyökeres and Osimhen. If you don't want a release clause, you can get realistic Premier League wingers like Cunha.
Cunha, exactly. You could easily get Cunha.
Yeah, Brian and Mbuemu, Semenyo. I'm talking about players, by the way, that would absolutely love to come to Arsenal. Not like, I don't think we're going to get Savio from Man City or Isak and Gordon from Newcastle. We're talking about players that would go, oh yeah, all right, I'm up for that. That sounds good.
There's a reason you won't use release clauses, though, Potts, and that's because you don't want to pay the money up front. And that's what it comes down to. I mean, you are installments, FC. You tried to offer to pay us, 70 million for Rice over like 6 installments, or like the maddest amount of installments. So you ain't going to pay.
That comes to the ownership, man, because the ownership ain't putting any money in their pocket. People will say they've put 800 million to spend. Yeah, that was all self-sustaining money. They've put 200 million pounds in since they were part of Arsenal in 2008. That's 10 million a year. They're billionaires. They spent 5 billion on the Rams Stadium. They're not interested in Arsenal. They're not bothered about winning. They just want to keep their top 4, give it all to Arteta and say, keep that stum. Tell us, everyone, you're the best. We're the best owners ever. And we'll just keep getting the top 4. That's all we want. I'm sure.
So you're not close with PSR, though? I'm sure that was mentioned last summer.
No, we're okay with PSR.
Well, what is the cushion? Because you can.
I don't think anybody knows, but I can only go by what the experts of finance say. We've got 150 million from what people are saying that we can spend if we want to, but they don't. They want to get it on the right player, which we just getting told is Isak. Well, Isak might not want to come in summer if he might want to stay at Newcastle. He might not be enough. We might have enough for Isak. I don't know. I just don't understand it, if I'm honest. I just don't understand it. I think the ownership are a disgrace. I think the board, by the way, Edu's not been replaced. We're being told by this interim guy, Jason Ato, who no one's heard of, that he's done such a good job in the 3 weeks that he's had the job. He might actually get a full-time job now. He hasn't signed anyone or sold anyone yet. What the hell is his job supposed to be? Billy, you wanted to ask the panel a question before I come to Pete and Dan. Go on, bruv.
Yeah, regarding Arteta, I'm just curious, how many of the panel would want Arteta to stay at Arsenal? Because I can't see, with Arsenal under Arteta, I can't see them winning anything.
Yeah,
I think this is as far as it really goes. So I was just wondering how many of the panel want to see Arteta stay at Arsenal, because that's never a good sign, in my opinion. If rival fans,
everyone does,
if rival fans, exactly,
none of you lot want him, and all of you want him to stay.
If rival fans want your manager to stay, then there's something wrong. I think.
Billy, you know what it is for me? I'm not trying to shit on the guy. I'm not trying to say he's an awful manager. He's clearly not an awful manager, right? He's not. But like again, we're talking about a team that needs to be winning the league.
Yep.
Brendan Rodgers is a good manager, but was he good enough to get Liverpool over the line and win them? No, like it's fine lines, it's fine margins, bro. This is what we're talking about, man. We're talking about elite of the elite. coming first out of 20 teams in a league that is a slog, in a league where you are going to get mad injuries, you are going to get terrible refereeing decisions, and somehow you've got to keep going and going and going and going. And I think Arteta is a top manager. I just don't think he's quite good enough. I think
maybe he's got
Brendan
too
Rodgers.
much say over transfers because, like I say, that's probably the issue. Because if Jesus and Havertz are your two highest players, even if Jesus is fit, they're on mad money. And these are your two big signings.
Well, they're on like 265k for Jesus. Who's paying him that? No one. There's no other club in the world's paying him that, and then no one's paying Kai Havertz what he's being paid either. No one.
Yeah,
I've got
100%.
one question. I've got one question for you, Potts. What would you rather come the summer? You give Arteta another 300 million, but you don't know what players and positions he's going to buy. He's just got that money and he stays. Or you do what Liverpool have done this season, getting a new manager, but there's no transfer budget and he has to work with what he's got.
Ooh.
Well, if we don't win anything come May, I'm going to ask for a new manager. So I'd have to go with that latter. I'd have to go with the latter. I'm not particularly happy about the fact we have to work with what we've got because I still believe that this squad is still short. And that's what people get confused about. Oh, why do you think we're going to win the league then? Well, I don't. Because I don't think Arteta's brought the right players in to win the league. Yeah, so that's what I'm getting at. So this is the thing. Like, I would take the latter, Errol. I would. And if I'm honest with you, bro, I don't see a world where Arteta gets sacked. I've just got to be real. I think it would take us dropping out of the top 4 this season, which, by the way, don't laugh. We could do that. We carry on playing like this. We're 6 points off of Newcastle in 6th, is it? Or someone in 6th, whoever is in 6th.
City,
we're only 6 points off of them. Is it City? There you go. So we're 6 points off of them. That's nothing. The way we're playing, that's nothing. We lose to Spurs and Villa, that's 6 points. Done. Now, I'm not saying everyone's going to win those 2 games and we go down and drop down that far, but that could happen quite quickly. It's so quick in football. We know, we all see it. Newcastle, 12th. Now they're looking like they're going to get top 4 again. Like we've done the same with Villa over the last few years. Like look at them under Gerrard, they're 16th. Now all of a sudden they're 4th. Like this can happen very quickly. It don't take long. It really don't, man. Look, Dan, you played us yesterday, and if I'm honest, it must have been. Well, I imagine, to be fair, I spoke to Flawless, and he said, "Oh, I was absolutely bricking it when we went down to 10 men. I thought that's it, we're out." I don't think we did anything to worry you at all. In fact, with 10 men, I actually thought you had the better of the opportunities going forward. So I don't know what your thoughts are on Arsenal and what your thoughts are on the game yesterday, bro. I might as well ask you, fam.
Well, first and foremost, my brothers are back on the show, so I feel confident and happy in saying this. Fuck Villa, so we'll get that out of the way. Lovely to see you, boys. Listen, Potts, I feel like I can talk to you about this and have experience. I'll tell you a story about an ex-player of ours that took over in a time where we were in the mud. 2 top 3 finishes. Fantastic. Everyone thought we were going to do everything that we wanted, and then it fell apart. And why did it fall apart? Because we weren't bold enough to go out there, admit that he had taken us as far as he'd gone, backed in with some wild signings. And what happened? We're still feeling the effects of that now. So I know exactly where you're coming from. Couple that with the fact that we've had some poor management after that. I think you've got to cut loose. I honestly do, because I'm seeing the signs. Now, fair enough, Declan Rice is a fantastic footballer. He is. I agree with what you say. He's not being used in the right way. I do think you're right there. But it's now you start to make signings and start to spend money on these signings that aren't going to be the players to take you to that next level. We've done that. We've paid the big wages for these players that we expect to take us to the next level. And look where we are now. I don't expect you ever to be in the same position of being 13th and absolutely, on the floor. But unless your ownership, and also you also said a point that again rings true with me. We've got mega rich owners who care more about their team in America. Well, that's the Glazers. Yeah, okay. So I know exactly how you feel. The thing is, there is hope. Because if your ownership do have any nice about them, they will look at Manchester United and they'll go, we got to get this right. We've got to get this right, because this will fail quickly and it will fail horrendously. Now, yesterday, when you missed the penalty, when the penalty was saved by being there, I turned around to my mate and I said, "We're winning this. We'll win this." All my confidence went through the roof. I thought United defended fantastically. I thought that there were leaders in that team, and Harry Maguire. I've been on the show and said it before about him. Giving pelters. That bloke was a rock yesterday. De Ligt was doing bits. I just think, I'm not saying Manchester United troubles are over, and this isn't talking about Man United, but what are the difference between our two teams yesterday were the characters in the game that stood up and took the game by the scruff of the neck. I couldn't understand what some of your players were doing yesterday. Havertz, I couldn't understand what that boy was doing. I really couldn't. So I think
you must have hated him, Dan, right? You must have hated him yesterday.
Mate, honestly, I hated that. I hated the moment when Delot got sent off. The reaction from that fucking Arsenal bench. I thought, the referee's already made his decision. We don't need you all jumping up and running down the fucking touchline like Mourinho did when he was at Porto against us in the Champions League. I just thought it was disgusting. And I've always
noticed as well, judges made this point. Have you lot noticed that we've got about 400 coaching staff and
100%.
only like 20 players? What is going on here?
100%. I just look. I think, as I've just said, you need to seriously look at the Manchester United model and think, where do you want to go as a club? Yeah, United. The only difference is, unfortunately for you, Manchester United, as bad as we've been, have won trophies. You guys don't even have that in the bank. It's been so long since you've won the Carabao Cup. You were so spot on when you said this. European Cup, Premier League, Carabao Cup. The FA Cup was 7 years. Is it 7 or 8 years? Was it 6 years, the FA Cup?
5 years.
5 years. For the money you've spent, you have to be doing stuff. But this process that we're hearing Arsenal fans talk about, you have to be achieving things. And this is my worry with and again, I'm going to talk from experience. This is my worry for Arsenal fans. You keep him. We kept Ten Hag last season. We spawned an FA Cup, and then we backed that manager with players in the summer. I was one of the fans that said I didn't want him to go at that point. You can't fall in that same thing because, okay, you might not win a cup this season, but what if Arteta from now goes on and wins 12, 13 games, absolutely blitzes towards the end of the season, you get within 4 or 5 points of Liverpool and you get a semi-final of a Champions League. I really worry that your fans will go, do you know something? There's change. We had a bad start to the season, but there's change. Now we build again next season. So I think you're at a bigger crossroads than some of your fans will admit. That's what I think.
I think you've said a lot of stuff there I can agree with totally, Dan, and especially with the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer stuff. I totally agree with the fact that you kept Ten Hag, and then all of a sudden you're now looking at Amorim coming in going, well, you've already spent money this summer on players I didn't want. That's not my style at all. I don't want to do that. If we're going to go and let's just say we go and get Simone Inzaghi, let me just think of him, right? Because there's a lot of rumours that he might be off from Inter Milan soon. Just go do it in the summer, get him in, back him with what you need and say, we believe that, you're the guy to take us across the line. We're going to back you with this amount of transfer kitty in this summer. Go and get what you need. What I would do is I would have more faith that he could actually bring some winning mentality into the squad and actually get some signings, but also he can work with what we've got, which, let's be real, none of you are sitting on this panel telling me that Arsenal's squad is shambles and you couldn't do anything, couldn't put a run of wins together. We've shown what we can do. There's definite quality within the side. Yeah, there's not enough squad depth, and I think there's a couple of probably teams on this panel that's got a better squad than Arsenal, right? I'm not denying that. But I do think that when we are at our best and we're at our best, we were really good to watch, scintillating. Everybody was fearing us. Unfortunately, Mikel Arteta has gone backwards, and he's gone back to a style which is very, very robotic, overcoached, overthinking, more worried about versatility and more worried about losing than he is going and actually giving it a go. And that is just unforgivable.
Something else I'll tell you what the next phase will probably be. And again, we saw this with Ollie. Ollie had all the players with smiles on their faces. Martial was banging. Rashford was enjoying his football. Lingard was doing his bits. Pogba was smiling. And then when it started to go bad, they downed tools. The smiles went. They were happy to let the manager take the flak for it. The infamous story from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, his last game against Watford, at half-time, he looked and said, who wants to play? Players were happy to come off. This is the other worry that you have to watch is footballers are like this, okay? They are like this. They don't want to be blamed for the downfall. So as soon as it starts to get to a point where they think, do you know what, we're not achieving anything, you watch them do the same to And Arteta's got to be strong enough to be ready to deal with that, as have your ownership.
Well, you look at Franklin's comment here. Simone is robotic and defensive, though.
He's not, though.
Yeah,
They
but
just
he
won
wins.
14 games in a row. They're top of La Liga. How are they robotic?
But even if he was Charlie, he wins and gets them over the line. 1-0, 2-1s. He won the league when Messi and Ronaldo were in that league playing for both Barcelona and Real Madrid. Like Simone Inzaghi, another example. This guy's won trophies. Yeah, you can look at Conte and Mourinho and all these guys.
You can put up with that football,
Ancelotti.
right? You can put up with that football if you win. That's why it's okay. Like, I'm sure if Arsenal playing shocking football, right? But you couldn't have complaints about it if they were winning. The problem is the football's crap and you're not winning. That's the big thing. Like, you can put up with a shit style if you win.
Pot, you were saying there about, he's had a period where he's playing scintillating football and teams were more wary of Arsenal or whatever, what have you. How long did that take for you to get to that point? It takes a while for that to be, it takes a while for that to be, a thing. How quick does it go? I've seen it as a Liverpool fan. We was blowing teams away for a long time and teams didn't want to come to Anfield. And then all of a sudden now, I think it was the 21-22 season or whatever it was, when we lost Van Dijk, we lost Matip.
Everyone was winning at Anfield.
Everyone
Burnley went there and won, didn't it?
Do you know what I mean? Like, when it went, it vanished. And then all of a sudden, you're not that team anymore. Teams don't give you that respect. Teams aren't fearful of you. And it's one of them, lad, like, you will sit there and your message won't change ultimately because you've seen it for what it is. But other Arsenal fans at this moment in time, the longer that they live in that land of delusion, the more damage it's going to do to the club. Because I think somebody said it on a fan cam yesterday, people are putting Arteta before they're putting Arsenal Football Club. And at the end of the day, you were Arsenal fans before you were Arteta sexuals. So you need to remember your roots and remember where you want to go. And
there is a section, though. There's a section that are putting his CV before the club, man. They're loving Arteta more than the club. And I think the owners are doing that as well, if I'm honest, which is crazy. I don't get it. And look, there was a comment here. Here we go from John. F me, just buy a striker. We could do that. And I don't think that's all we need, because this manager at the moment, and I don't know if Pete agrees with this, if I put Isak into this side, I don't think Arsenal win the league playing like this. No. So I don't think Isak gets on anything in the end of stuff because we're not playing well enough to create enough for Isak. We're not. And I love Isak. He's the one that I want. Pete knows that. We always tongue in cheek laugh about it, but I don't actually think he's gonna do well in the way.
What about Duran? Because Duran can shoot from out of nowhere, create for
Judges
wait for this game with those red cards. You want
he's a bit violent. He's a bit violent, so
he won't
untouchable because of his attitude.
Billy, do you remember, Billy? We were saying last season, right? Watkins to Arsenal. This shows how quick he can change strikers.
Exactly.
In the Premier League.
Yeah,
I'd take Duran over Watkins. Real talk.
But what would you take?
Strikers are there pots from other top six clubs that you could take? Because we know that's Arteta's MO.
Go and get, I know he's not top six, but go and get Delap, man, from Ipswich. This guy's a baller,
But he is, and I think if Duran or Watkins was to go, I'd love him. But I think for Arsenal and where they want to go, that is such a big jump to take mid-season as well. If it's summer, I could understand it. He's got a bit of pre-season to kind of get used to it a little bit more. But mid-season to go from Ipswich.
Well, but here's the problem. Here's the problem, Billy. So yeah, that's a very good point, right? But that's the problem with this is like their season is literally falling apart.
Yeah,
they can't get Isak in January. Can they get Gyökeres in January? Maybe. No. Who knows? Could they get Osimhen in January? I don't know. You can get Delap from Ipswich.
I suppose it does give you half a season as well.
Are they not falling into the same trap as United with that as well, LB? Because they're being linked with Evan Ferguson, who can't even get into the Brighton squad. Hello, Weghorst at United.
But trust me, Ferguson's got nothing on Delap. But Delap's a baller, man. This guy's cold.
But you're saying he's gettable, like.
How gettable is he?
He is, but money talks. So this is a
club.
They're relegating themselves.
Yeah, the lap in January is a 50-60 mil transfer.
Yeah. They're confirming their relegation if they sell him. So they're going to ask for crazy money.
Yeah, I agree.
The thing is
but are Arsenal serious?
But Arsenal,
no, they're not. We know they're not. Go
being
serious from Man United. He can fix him. Don't worry, Arteta can fix him.
Arsenal being serious is going and getting the top dog. That's what they want. That's what Arsenal want. They want someone to finish their masterpieces in terms of their team. But the reality is that Potts is right. Is that getting a striker doesn't finish this team. It doesn't finish this team. This team is continually getting worse. I said this to you, Potts, the other day. Like, I'm looking at 2 years ago or 3 years ago when you first had that challenge to Man City. The football you were playing that season was absolutely unreal. Superb football. It was the Arsenal back early 2000s. The tight passing, the unlocking of teams, whether it was low block, whether they were pressing you, it didn't matter. You were turning these teams apart. Last season, we were sat on this show in the first half of the season saying, "Where's that Arsenal gone?" We were all saying it on the panel. Where's that Arsenal gone? You were winning scruffily, and to be fair, I backed it because I thought that quality Arsenal would come out. It started to come out at the back end of the season, and then very quickly disappeared. This season, I'm sorry, I've not seen that quality Arsenal at all. And I've said it to you before. I was arguing with Newcastle fans in the build-up to the game on Tuesday, saying Arsenal don't play good football, and they were saying, "Yeah, Arsenal do. They play good football." No, it's an illusion. People are still realizing the Arsenal of 2 years ago. Arsenal of 2 years ago is unrecognizable to the Arsenal right now. They are not playing the type of football. They are relying heavily on set pieces. We all know that. But the Arsenal of 2 years ago would have been able to break down most teams this season. And you look at teams now, they come to Arsenal or they play against Arsenal and they sit deep. Doesn't matter what team it is, good or bad. Doesn't matter what quality they've got in their team. They'll go, you know what? Best way to beat Arsenal, sit in. They can't break you down. That's what we did to points in the game. Not all the time.
This is why on Wednesday, if Tottenham play like the Ange way, which they're going to do, by the way, and we beat them, he should be sacked the next morning. Because it is so obvious how to play against Arsenal. If you go one way, go gung-ho, and you lose that game, you're a fool. You know, Everton have showed you what to do. Fulham have showed you what to do. Ipswich nearly got a draw out of it. Newcastle, I mean, you were great, Pete, but it weren't like you were scintillating going forward because you didn't need to be. You just needed to work us out. And Eddie Howe played us again. This is the thing. It's so easy to play us. Everyone has worked us out. It's simple. So you're right.
Counter-attacking football. That's exactly what we played. And to be fair, we've sat deep on teams before. We did it 2 years ago when we drew 0-0 at your place. That was a proper sitting-in job. We didn't do that on Tuesday. We came out, we created chances and opportunities. Maybe not as many as you, but
you didn't need to, though, Pete.
We didn't need to. But
you just killed them. You basically killed the chances you had because you got Isak and Gordon, and we've got Havertz and bloody Trossard and Sterling, and well, the list goes on. Really, I mean, we've only got four attackers now. They're all injured. We've got Havertz, Jesus, Sterling and Trossard, and none of them are firing. And look, I wanted to ask this question to the panel, actually, right? I don't mind who jumps in. Is he already fallen on this Havertz sword? If he isn't good already.
100%.
Yeah, of course he has. That was his main signing. That was his guy. Like that the Havertz thing will define Arteta. You know, that'll be his defining moment in his reign. If it all goes wrong for him and he gets sacked, you'll look back to signing Havertz as a big mistake. You could have put that 65 mil towards a striker that would have actually made you a serious team. He will die on the Havertz sword. That will define his reign, whether that transfer works or not.
I would love to know what strikers were available at the time he did spend that 60. Obviously,
was available. Blahovic was available.
Tony was definitely one.
Tony would have been available.
In and around the time, obviously, aside from his ban, but he could have kept the money to buy him once he was off his ban, I should say.
Crazy. I don't get it, man. I really don't. I think it's a madness, to be fair.
You get beat on Wednesday, man. It's gonna be.
Why does he lose on Wednesday, Potts? Like, he's not going to go, though, is he?
Well, if you lose
Wednesday,
Charlie, do you know what? You're right.
A draw's worse, though, Potts. A draw's worse.
Well, a draw is pretty much a loss in a title race, ain't it? Right. So he draws that, but then we've got Emery's Villa again, which, by the way, which last season we lost. If we lose these next two games, I don't know how the fans can't turn. I don't know how the fans can accept it still. I don't know what they're waiting for. We're out of a title race then if we lose these next two. And the way we're playing, trust me, we ain't winning them. Might not lose both. We ain't winning both, right? The way we're playing. Yeah. I actually think Villa is even harder. Tottenham at the moment look a shambles, but you just know that the way we're playing, they could turn up and just do something, right? So, like you say, the draw won't be good, Errol.
You better add, I'm not finishing below bloody Spurs next week for fucking Dead to come back and keep going on. You have
He'll
to.
come back laughing at you. But look, I just don't think we are in a place where we can be confident going into games at the moment. And I look at our fixtures; it don't get any easier, man. Because we've got Spurs, we've got Villa, we've got Man City coming up in February. We've got obviously Newcastle in the second leg, which we're going to have to be sedated through that game because all they need to do is score, and we've got 4 that we need. So they're through to the
Who
final.
have you got in the Champions League pots?
Champions League, we've got Girona and Zagreb, who we should both
Oh,
beat, but you
yeah,
never
that's
know the way we're playing at the moment. But we're pretty much okay in that, I think, unless we lose drastically in both. Like, I just don't think we're in a good place at all. I really don't. And look, I want to do this very quickly to end because I'm conscious that we've had an hour just on Arsenal, but I kind of feel like everyone else has kind of brushed past their teams, really. Not much else to talk about other than these talking points. But I'm just going to really quickly read this out, all right? And I want you to do in your head, you won't need, trust me, won't take you very long. I just want you to, in your head, count how many of these Arteta signings out of the 30 you think have been absolute hits for Arsenal, right? And I want you to give me a kind of number individually of how many of these you think out of the 30 have been great. All right. So I'll go through them quickly. Just think of them in your head. David Raya, Aaron Ramsdale, Matt Turner, Alex Runnison, Matt Ryan, Ben White, Jurriën Timber, Tomiyasu, Cedric, Gabriel, Kivior, Pablo Marie, Austin Trusty, Ricardo Calafiori, Zinchenko, Tavares, Thomas Partey, Lokonga, Jorginho, Rice, Marino, Ceballos, Erdegaard, Fabio Vieira, Willian, Marquinhos, Kai Havertz, Gabriel Jesus, Leandro Trossard, and Raheem Sterling. Now, that's the first players.
I've got 6 as well. 6.
I got 6.
I didn't count Rice because of the price. I'm sorry, you got to be a 105 mil player. So.
I didn't count Party because of,
Yeah, we don't.
So it doesn't matter who we've all counted in that, we'll be here for 8.
I feel awful like
I got 6, bro. I got 6 on that one.
Yeah,
He
he'll
was
be
always
a
so-
bit mad with some of them. I was looking at him funny, like with some of the ones he was counting.
Hey,
Yeah, you like he was going like Cedric. You were like, yeah,
I did David Raya, Ben White, Gabriel,
Timber.
Rice. No, I didn't do Timber because I think Timber will be a hit. But for me, so far, I basically didn't play any games last year.
Yeah.
This year, but I think he will be a hit eventually.
Who else did you
Declan Rice, and that's pretty much it. I
You
put
did
Jorginho
Odegaard.
in actually because for the price and what you wanted him to do, he's done the job well.
Odegaard's done well, to be fair, for like 30
Yeah, I had Odegaard.
Yeah,
in there. I had
Odegaard, 100%.
So what we're saying is that 6 is the highest number out of
But
31 signings.
if you word the question slightly different, Potsy, like how many of these players have like not just like done all right, like how many of them have come in and like literally elevated your club? How many players have come into Arsenal and elevated you? So like City have got like De Bruyne, Haaland, Liverpool got like Salah, right? Fucking United now have like Diallo and that, yeah. Chelsea got Cole Palmer. How many players have come into our Arsenal and actually legitimately lifted you a level?
Well, the only 2 players I would suggest are Saliba, who wasn't his signing, and Saka, who come through the youth system. Maybe you could flirt with Erdegaard.
I was
You
going to
could
say,
potentially argue. I think could potentially argue Raya because I think Raya's a really good goalkeeper.
He's been good,
I know he didn't show that yesterday. in the
Well,
penalty
shit on
shootout.
penalties, obviously.
I know that was weird. That was
I
dodgy. I don't know what
prefer
he's
my
doing.
goalkeeper personally.
I think he's a good goalkeeper, Raya. But yeah, you need. But that goes back to what I was saying earlier on about the transfer window. You needed the X factor player. You need, and this is where you're going to struggle because you're going to get a lot of fans saying, "Oh, you're just playing FIFA. You're being entitled." But you're at that point now where you need the Kvaratskhelia, you need the Isaks, you need the Osimhens, you need these guys, man. And you're out here signing Marino. Yeah, and I said it this morning, yeah. And obviously, you was on the show. I said it this morning, I'll say it again. These fake tacticals, yeah, that coming out here pretending, when Arsenal signed Marino, saying, "Oh, he's fucking mint." Yeah, I watched Spain, yeah, in the one of the international breaks, like first international break, the one we have in like September or whatever.
Yeah.
I watched it because I was watching Zubimendi, yeah, and he was absolutely dog shit. And I was like, why have Arsenal signed this guy? You know when you can just tell, lads, that like the guy ain't offering me much. He's not offering me goals. He's not offering me
He was awful
creativity. He's
yesterday.
not offering me like a Declan Rice tag. I don't know why you signed him and you spent 30
Isn't that
odd
the
mil.
Odegaard replacement, though, Potts? Essentially, like the alternative is Marino.
Nah, I
It was
think
actually
that's
supposed
Xhaka,
to be
isn't it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be the upgrade on Xhaka.
Oh, he's going to be upgrade on Xhaka.
He's
Not an
an
upgrade on Xhaka. No way.
He's nowhere near an upgrade
The
on
best midfield duo that Arsenal should have had would have been Rice and Xhaka, but Xhaka left. That's summer that you got Rice in. That had been a fantastic midfield duo. I think.
We should have gone for Caicedo, bro. When we got Jorginho, we should have pushed harder, but we didn't. Imagine having Rice and Caicedo and Odegaard.
But he
now.
wasn't going to get Rice and Caicedo. It was Rice
You would have
or
got them both.
Caicedo.
I don't think you would have got them
We'd
both.
never have got Rice.
Why not though? Why do we not have an ownership?
Arsenal,
in
You
it?
paid
you
2
would
million,
not have spent that
200
much
million
money.
on 2 midfielders.
No, I know we shouldn't have. But what I'm not talking about what the Kroenkes should have done that they
but
now
even
think,
still,
oh,
I don't think
silly
that
me.
makes sense.
If we had owners, surely we had owners that are ambitious enough. You go and get both, right?
No, you don't.
You
because
bid
that's
for
200 million
Caicedo.
on two
Then.
players.
Why did
You
Chelsea
bid
then?
for him. You bid for Caicedo, like 70 odd mil, didn't you?
Yeah, we bid for him, but let's be real. Brighton were like, oh, we're not. You can have him in the summer. We never went for him. We obviously went for Rice. But why did we not go for both? Like Chelsea
Now
went for
you are
Lavia
playing
and Caicedo.
FIFA because there's
Huh?
FFP. Imagine if you paid 200 million. I don't think having both turns you into title challengers. Maybe it does make you better, but I just think spending 200 million on 2 midfielders.
Well,
I don't
Chelsea
know,
have
man.
done it.
No, we did do that, to be fair.
They've spent God knows on everything. They've spent $1 billion on everything you can.
That's
possibly
what I mean.
spend.
But their owners are.
You're
Like,
not the
I don't rate their
Chelsea,
ownership.
Chelsea are able to sell hotels to get around FFP.
Yeah,
though,
they've got selling hotels, selling
It's
like
not even that,
academy
it's not even
players.
that, Matt. I think Charlie will admit this as well. Chelsea, as much as we hammer them for hotels and all the rest of it, Chelsea are arguably up there with probably Man City as one of the best sellers in the Premier League. They
Yeah.
sell.
I know we're the
players-
best sellers for sure. Yeah.
Man City. Okay,
They had like some Saudi club that they were mates with, and they were just selling them these players for like over the market value.
It ain't even that though. The young players that come through their academy, they might buy them at 6, 17, 18 for like 4 or 5 million, and then we'll go and sell them off for 20 plus. That's great selling, and that allows them to go and spend.
Mount 60 mil, Havertz 65 mil. That's 125 mil for 2 players.
And Arsenal wanted a Mount as well. Arsenal wanted to sign Mount. They was in for him as well.
Yeah.
Imagine you got Mount and Havertz. Oh my God.
I'm not hating on mate.
This is why Arsenal can't smack that type of money down on the table for the.
Pots, what's your record sale? What's Arsenal's record sale?
Are you ready for it?
I know.
Go on then, Errol.
Is it Nketiah?
It's not. It's Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain to Liverpool.
30 mil?
For about 34 million pounds.
Yeah.
So your record sale is 34 million pounds.
Yeah, Smith Rowe's close.
Wait, how much
but
was
it's
Alexis Sanchez to Man
What
United?
would it?
Swap Mkhitaryan.
We swapped with Mickey.
Do you know what the weird thing is as well? Like, well, no, I think there's a lot.
Alex
of
Iwobi was the other one to Everton. Sorry, Errol. Go on.
No, there's a lot of ways.
He was 40 mil, wasn't he? Sorry.
Yeah, but it was rising to that, and he never rose to it because he was crap at Everton.
Yeah. You know when you're a big or you're operating like a serious big club, and you'll remember the pot when you tried to get Luis Suarez from us. That was the last time. I know you shit the bed in the way you've done it, but that's the approach that a big club takes. Chelsea have done it down in the past where they're like, "You're one of their better players. We're taking you now. We're not going to wait."
We did it with Van Persie. We went
Yeah.
like Van Persie, didn't we?
Man, you do it with them. You go out to your rivals and you rile them up, and you go and get one of their best players because, as LB says, that's the superstar. That's the stud. That's just going to change everything for you.
You would have definitely had some more league titles if you got Suarez for sure. I reckon.
Oh, 100%. They definitely would have won a title if they got
Easy.
Suarez. Yeah. You got to be the alpha, man. You got to be the
was.
alpha club, innit? You've got to go out there with your chest and say, we're taking your best player and this fuck all you're going to do about it. Like, that's what you've got to do. You've got to be a dick. It's a ruthless sport, man. I think you're just soft football.
You got the manager to do that though as well, LB. Like Fergie coming out and saying, "Yeah, get Van Persie. I'll take Van Persie."
United did it all the time. They do it all the time. Fergie would sign the best player in the Premier League every season, pretty much at United in the summer. They do that for year after year after year. You have to be ruthless.
Yeah, but if you have the right board, though, you don't have to have the right manager. If you have the right board, we signed Tevez with fucking
Yeah.
We had, you know what I mean? Like Robinho. Like if your board is serious, you'll sign the players. At the end of the day, money talks. If Arsenal want to get serious, go and get the big players. Yeah, go. If you want to go and get Isak, go and put £160 million down and say we'll pay you 350 grand a week. If you're serious, you're not going to do that. They'll go to Newcastle and say, how about £80 million spread over 5 years? And Newcastle will be like, is that the deposit? Like, what's going on here? Like, you've got to be serious, man. And like with Arsenal, the thing that's like must be so frustrating for Arsenal fans is like, you've been so close so many times. Innit? Like you're always up there. Last year, second, the year before, second. Back in the day when you could have got Suarez and that. Yeah, I mean,
It's been like this before Arteta, to be fair, as well.
No, I agree. That's the point I'm making.
Yeah. This is like the ownership thing for me. I think I said this to Robbie yesterday on one of the fan cams. I said that when we had Ozil and Sanchez, everyone was like, where's your Patrick Vieira? We didn't get one under this ownership. When we had this kind of brilliant defense that we've even got now, we're still looking for a striker. There's been times, to be fair, where we've had the strikers and the Aubameyangs and Lacazettes. We've had nothing at the back. You know, it's always a department that's not complete at Arsenal. And this is why I get frustrated.
Are we forgetting something here? I don't think we've spoke about it since I've been on. Is that we're forgetting? We're talking about. So LB's talking about go and splash that money on this player, that player, this, that, and the other. But it's another year with Arsenal not winning anything. Why are we not talking about the fact that Saliba's now looking over his shoulder, thinking, "Do I need to go somewhere else?"
Well, we've been telling them this, haven't we, Pete? Me and you.
Bro, Real Madrid need a centre back.
And
why
like,
would they not come
as it sounds, academy player or not? Is Saka not looking round his shoulder going, I'll have him. I'll have Saka.
But that's what happens, isn't it? That's what happens.
Arsenal fans aren't thinking about this, and they probably won't, Potts. But, you know, it's sort of like, obviously we get it all the time, and Billy gets it with players wanting to go up to a bigger club and all the rest of it.
We might get it as well.
Let me finish. Just from my perspective, I'm looking at Arsenal, and you're looking at the big teams, the big clubs. Arsenal aren't that. Arsenal are a level down from that, in my opinion, of where the ranks are right now. In world football, Arsenal are the rank down from some of those big clubs. And, you know, you're looking at Barcelona yesterday. Barcelona are crying out for a centre-back. They're crying out for it. And Real Madrid now going to turn around and go, Saliba ain't winning anything.
Missed out on Euro in the summer.
Are they going to do exactly what LB's saying Arsenal should do? Are they going to be absolute?
Real Madrid do that shit. They don't care.
We want a player. We're going to go take him. And let's be honest, when a player is approached by Real Madrid, they very rarely, if ever, say no. And this is the thing. We've not spoke about this at all. Like tonight on this show, we're talking about Arsenal going and signing this player and that player. This is another year where you're likely to not win a big trophy. And you should be. I watched you guys in 2000, 2001, 2002, 2003 tear it up on a weekly basis and be that team that you want them to be. I haven't seen that since. The longer that continues, those players, forget about players coming in, those players are going to think, I'm getting older, time's ticking, I need to win something.
But you know, to your point,
going to want to go and play on the best team.
You know, to your point there, though, Pete, we're old enough to have seen it. There's a whole generation of young bucks that have only ever seen Arsenal muddled. So for them, the last 2 to 3 years has been a significant, not just a marginal gain. It's been a significant. Arteta, in terms of prime, has been the best manager that they've seen in their lifetime, because they've seen Wenger on the decline. They heard all the good stuff, but they only physically seen with their own eyes the decline of Wenger. They never really gave Unai Emery the chance to rise up, and Arteta is taking them back towards the promised land. There is a generation of Arsenal fans there now that are clinging on to, look, we're here and we're in and amongst it. I don't want to go back to where we had been and where I've grew up, and I've been getting muddled and bantered all of my teens and pre-teens and all the rest of it. So I'd rather hold on. It's better the devil you know than the devil you don't all over again. But the one thing, and this was even before I did any sort of content, and I used to sit there and watch AFTV, the one thing I used to say about the way that Arsenal fans berated Arsene Wenger, I always used to say it, you man better be careful for what you wish for, because ultimately you do not know what is around the corner.
Grass isn't always greener.
5, 6,
what you
7
wish
years.
for.
5, 6, 7 years later, he's haven't achieved what he's pushed him out the door for. In fact, Wenger's last 5 years are better than Mikel Arteta's first 5 years. Are you mad? Are you actually mad? Boy, could never be my.
It's crazy, bro.
Oh,
Crazy.
Potts, I can't wait to see you and Judges on the 24th. It's gonna be a
Well,
good
listen,
event. Oh.
let's talk about that very quickly. Let's get people signed up to this. QR code is there to be scanned. Link is in the description. Make sure you signed up. It is ticket only. It's the Hippodrome Casino. It'll be myself, Lawless, Judges, Don, Deji, and D on stage. And we will have Sophie Nicolau from Highbury Squad and special guests. Please make sure that you are signed up to it. We're going to be promoting this and socials and everything, trying to get it out there for as many of you to come and join us. It'd be great to see you all in person at the Hippodrome Casino.
Live. And them Arsenal fans, all you Arsenal fans, you can come and see me in person and tell me what you think of me. After all
that, very short. I thought he was going to be 6 foot. I thought he was going to be 6 foot.
It's not my fault you had these fantasies about me, Dan. Like, you know what I mean? I
didn't Still do.
Well, I love that, man.
But
listen, let's bring these up. Let's bring these up before we do come to a close. Lawrence says the problem, my fellow Gooners, is they're scared of change. They see other club changes their manager every minute, but don't want us to do likewise. It's not just a club; it's an institution. Big up to you, bro. He also says, Lawrence, sad to say most Arsenal fans accept failure for success because they're failures themselves. Myself, I see Arteta as a fraud who needs to be sacked. Wow, he's really going in, Lawrence. He's also said on the front of my Arsenal shirt, it's a cannon, not of that Spanish clown. We're Arsenal FC, not Arteta FC. Unfortunately, some of the fans in this fan base think the latter. And there's a City fan, LB, who says LB City's under 21s have just went down to 9 men against Brighton's under 21s and won the game. Crazy game.
Madness.
Can I ask the LB one question dead quick before we dip?
Yeah, of course.
Your game on the FA Cup, how did our kid play? Because he started.
Yeah, all right, mate. He didn't have too much defending to do, as you'd probably imagine. But he's been, you know what, mate? He's I feel a bit sorry for him because he's been thrown into a City team where we've obviously been horrendous. And he's been all right, you know. He's been all right. Like, fair play to him. He's not really been at fault for any clangers. You can tell maybe he's not fully confident, but that's because he's young. He's never played for the first team before. But you know what, mate? Fair play. You know what I mean? He's been pretty hard. He's been pretty solid, man, to be honest with you. I'll be real with you. You know what I mean? So, listen, where's his future going to be? Will it be at City? I don't know. I mean, you got to be good to be at City, like world class. Is he going to get to that level? Who knows? But he's definitely going to have a career in the game, in my opinion. Which is all these guys want, really, isn't it? They just want to have a career in the football. That's why I always say when I'm watching academy football, it's not necessarily about, oh, is he going to play for City? It's like, can they get them into full-time football to have a career? And definitely think he's going to have a career in football, bro. 100%. So.
Your lads have
Before
gone
we
on.
go, can we just acknowledge that West Ham are back? We're back in business. Can we all acknowledge that?
By the way, where am I? Thank you, Lawless.
What for what?
Didn't we get him sacked?
Yeah, oh yeah, you did. And that shows you where Man City are, that losing to Man City is a sackable offence. Thank you for that.
No, I said
he did well to beat Villa, didn't you, the other night?
Listen, let me tell you something. They had the help of the clueless officials, obviously, as they do. You know, very favoured.
Pete agrees. Pete agrees.
Yeah, officials love them. They love them. So listen, but what I saw,
we've been shafted the most statistically this season.
Listen, we got shafted. Yeah, we got fully shafted in that game.
Can we stop talking about used to getting shafted?
Lawless, you're forgetting about the corner that he didn't give 2 minutes before.
I tell you what, Billy. I tell you what. Let's swap. Yeah, let's put in a scenario where you get the corner you should have got, and we get the goal kick that we should have got. Guess what? I bet you don't score that corner.
Who knows?
I bet you don't.
Who knows?
I know.
Lawless, what are you doing? What are you doing on the 15th of March, Lawless? That's going to be an interesting game.
15th of March. We got you, have we?
Everton, mate. Moyes is
Everton.
Oh, please.
I can't. I'm not going to be able to bear that. That's going to be like playing Spurs or something, where it's just you just can't bring yourself to want to lose that game. It's going to be unbearable, the discourse around that. And if we lose, I'm going missing.
You ain't losing.
I've just clocked that Lawless wants Villa to win our next 2 games.
Wait, who you got?
Against Moyes and Everton and Arsenal.
Oh shit, yeah, I do as well. But listen, as long as Villa don't win anything, because like I said, they cheated their way to the next round. We play. I have not been that happy and excited to watch a West Ham team as I was in that first half. I was on cloud 9. I forgot what football was. I forgot how fun it could be to watch your team. I can't believe it. Graham Potter.
What as a man, then you're happy, yeah?
I'm happy. I'm like, if we play like that, the players actually worked. They actually closed down. We won the ball up high up the pitch in the other positions.
Makes you wonder what Lopetegui was doing, man.
What was he doing? What was he doing all this time? It took one training session for me to see that from West Ham. One.
It was a back to basics performance, wasn't it? Really, it was. Let's just get back to basics.
Team,
slowly
though,
but surely.
West Ham have got a good team, bro.
Oh, absolutely, and they did play really well. To be fair to them, we were hunting for 70 minutes.
Somerville losing him was so costly, and full group was influential in the game as much as Billy was like, we didn't get a goal or assist, but he was linking up play.
Billy would have. Yeah. Billy would have got a hat-trick.
I wouldn't have pulled my hammy, that's for certain.
Yeah, I'm pissed off. Yes, you would. You'd have pulled them both. You would have pulled them both. Mate,
listen, I'd have been out of breath by 5 minutes, but I wouldn't have pulled a hammy.
we got Stamford Bridge coming up soon as well. Oh, how I want to win that game. Potter going back. Stamford Bridge.
Charlie.
Shoving it. Because they've been unbearable, these Chelsea fans. Like, since we signed him, Chelsea fans have been unbearable. Like, we lost the game. Everyone's trying to come in and going, oh, Potter out. See, Potter's shit. It's like, what do you mean? That's like, I haven't seen that all season, that performance. Our defense look organized. So, listen, if I can win any game, I want to beat Chelsea, beat Arsenal, Spurs, I think we've got them again, and beat Everton, right? Just give me them 4 games. What?
Not asking for much.
No, not asking for much. No, but like, if in the grand scheme of things, there's 4 games. I just want 4 wins. Give me them 4 wins.
If you win those 4 games and lose the rest of them, you'll be happy.
Yeah, I will. I'll give you a statue, mate.
I'll take that.
I will as well.
I'll take it. Lawless logic, man.
Lawless, if you can only beat one of them, who are you taking out of Arsenal, Spurs, Everton, and Chelsea? You can only beat one.
Have to be Everton. It's just going to have to be Everton because our fan base, the Moyes sexuals, the Moyes lovers are just going to be unbearable leading up to and after that game. Oh my God. I just can't bear it. I wish they'd all piss off to Everton with him. It's going to be horrible. So, as much as I would like to say Arsenal or Spurs, it has to be Everton. And I would love. And listen, I've got no my animosity isn't towards Moyes. It's his fans. That's the animosity I have. It's his fans. So I would wish him all the best, but not against us. But yeah, man, we might be back next season. You might see me because we're building something.
Next season.
Okay.
Sound like an Arsenal fan, Lawless. Next season.
We need a striker as well, man. We're in trouble. We got Danny Ings.
That was funny today. I've had a great day on Twitter seeing the West Ham fans thinking they're going to get Duran. Oh, it has been an enjoyable day for me on Twitter. With the Marlon, here we go, and then the West Ham fans thinking, oh, we're going to get Duran. Oh, it's been glorious.
Listen, just take
that ship has sailed. That ship has sailed.
You're not getting Duran. You're getting Taiwo Awoniyi.
No, I don't want Taiwo.
No, bro, you'll get Evan Ferguson on loan. That's what West Ham
I said, Charlie. I said
Evan Ferguson on loan.
That'd be a good signing as well.
Right in along in it out though.
If he can stay fit.
He's Potter's boy, isn't it?
Yeah, what?
Well,
What
We'll
Ferguson?
see. Ronnie,
want any
our
guilt,
resident Spurs fan, says that West Ham next season could win the championship.
Or you could actually no, because you're a Spurs fan, you wouldn't even win that. So
Runners up automatic promotion.
yeah, at best, you'll get second place in the championship.
You actually get a trophy for second place in a championship now.
Oh, do you actually? Wow.
Yeah, you do, mate. You get medals and shit for coming second. Yeah, you do.
If you go down,
Billy,
you ain't coming back up.
Billy,
Then.
did you not get one? No, you didn't come up. You went, was it
Playoff.
playoffs? You did
Playoffs, yeah.
We're only 1 point.
I always thought
behind
that was a bit weird. Like you get a playoff trophy and a first place trophy, but you get nothing for second. Not that I'd care, 'cause I'd rather come second, but it is a
Yeah.
bit strange. But there we go.
Anyway,
Anyway,
getting a trophy
listen.
for second anyway just shouldn't happen. I
That-
can get
that's
the
just
playoffs
not-
because
yeah.
it's the drama of the playoffs.
Arsenal are
isn't it?
crying out for a second place. Second place trophy.
Yeah, we'd probably claim it. We'd be happy to claim one. I tell you. The way
Utter
we
woke
go.
nonsense that is.
It is mad. Look, man, we've got to wrap up. Is there anything else you guys want to touch on? I know some breaking news, Charlie, about Chelsea and from Matis Tel from Bayern Munich. Marmoush, I think, is on his way to City, which I think is a good signing. West Ham, Arsenal, Villa, United, Newcastle, and Liverpool still ain't done much business from what I can work out. unless I'm-
Marlon will be coming in next couple
You
of
are
days.
shameless, Peter. You are shameless. You should be ashamed.
Dubravka.
That poor man. The way you were going on about him after that Carabao Cup, honestly, I thought you were going to retire his fucking shirt when he went. The way you
I wanted it. I'm not holding back. I wanted him gone, absolutely. But I can't lie. These last 8 games, he's been very
is
good.
Miggy going? Is Miggy going? Is he definitely gone?
I hope so. I hope so. He looks like he will do. But the issue is that we've got Miggy and Murphy. Murphy's having a purple patch right now. He's playing really, really well. However, if we let Miggy go, we've only got one right wing. We have to go and sign. It's as simple as that.
Is there anyone you're linked with, Pete?
We were linked with Johan Bakayoko from PSV, who's a good, really good player. But that was earlier on in the window, just as the window opened. Whether we go back and get him, I've got no idea. But
should go get Brian and Mbeumo, man. Go get Brian and Mbeumo.
We won't get him.
Huh?
We won't get him.
Who do you want then?
I would love him. I want him. He would be, I think, most Newcastle United fans' first choice target. But the money that Brentford are wanting for him, the policy that Paul Mitchell's got right now, honestly, we're heading into Europe to get our players from now on. The majority of our players will be from Europe because Paul Mitchell from Leipzig, AS Monaco, he's got his experience across Europe, not necessarily in the Premier League. That's where he would do his business. So for me, if we're going to get any of those type of players in, they won't be from England. So that's why I don't think we'll get him.
There was a guy in your chat box asking a question. It only needs a one-word answer. If Unai Emery had 700 mil, would he have done better than Arteta?
Yes.
Yeah. The answer is
yeah, I think he would have under this structure. Unai Emery didn't have this structure, though. This is what people get confused about. Oh, we had Emery, it didn't work. But it wasn't under this structure. There wasn't a total ownership of Kroenkes. There was Hus Fahmy. There was Raul Sanlehi. It wasn't Joshua Kroenke alongside Richard Garlick and Edu, who's obviously now gone, and Arteta. So, yeah, I believe Unai Emery's a better manager than Arteta.
So, Pops, I'll ask you what I asked you on my channel on Thursday, I think it was. If you're saying under a different structure, would you take Unai Emery back?
I don't think you have to go back to an X, so I would say no.
Billy's eyes.
Under a new
structure,
money to spend?
I think he would have done better. I just feel like there's a proven winner out there that Arsenal need, and I don't think it's Unai Emery. I don't think he's a proven to win a Premier League or a Champions League. He's done very well in Europa Leagues in Europe. I think he's perfect at Villa. I think he's that sort of manager who goes to that next level at PSG at Arsenal and found it too difficult. I think Villarreal, Villa, Seville, Valencia, that's his kind of where I think he does his best work. So I will say no, but I do think he would have done a better job under this structure, in my opinion. Whether it's good enough to win the league, I still don't know that, do I? But I think that he'd do a better job than I just think he's a better manager. I just do. And
I think he's got one more big club in him. I do, Potts, Emery.
Yeah.
Honestly, I firmly believe it's not a dig, Billy. I genuinely believe
he's already at one.
I think I agree with that.
He's got a big move in him. Yeah,
I think it'd be a great signing. You get him back. I think he'd get you back up
Where?
there. What?
Where does he go?
Arsenal.
What's this? Yes,
saying
no, I know that, but I'm talking about Dan United saying he's got one more big move in him. Where?
I don't know, mate. Honestly, I just.
You've rattled him now. Look at Billy. He's right. You've annoyed him now. Look,
I'm
come out of his place.
just intrigued.
No,
I'm just intrigued.
If you want my honest opinion, I could see him at Real Madrid. I could when Ancelotti goes.
I was going to say exactly the same.
Ancelotti goes. I think Madrid would be very foolish to not look at him, if I'm honest.
And the thing is, Billy, there's a good chance you're not going to be in Europe next season. You've had a lot of talk, a lot of chest. Very good chance you won't be in Europe. And wow,
still got a Champions League campaign to go, and the season's not.
What are you going to do in that Champions League campaign? What do you think you're doing in that?
He took Villarreal to a semi-final.
Billy, that's
Villarreal to a semi-final.
So he's going to take Villa to what?
You never know.
You never know. I know, Billy.
Football's a crazy game.
You couldn't even win the Conference League.
Billy, do you honestly think that you could win the Champions League? Billy, no, serious question. No. But where do you think you could go in it?
I think we could get to a quarter or a semi-final,
but
an absolute push semi-final.
Next season, no Europe. So when you've got some of your players, how many players are going to have their heads turned because you're not in Europe?
How do you know that?
Well, how do I know what?
That we're not going to be in Europe. Seasons don't end after 20-21 games.
Thank God.
Lawless. You're Lawless. You're the one that just said that we'll see you back on here next season.
No, I wasn't talking to you. I'm
talking to you about you being confident that West Ham are going to be back on the race for Europe.
Do you know why? Because we're going to be in a European race next season. That's why.
Oh, okay.
Not that we're going to get
eighth place. It could be as low as 8th place that could get European football, depending.
You better hope for that, Billy. You're 8th place now.
If it gets Champions League, it could be as low as 8th.
Pete, I dream of the day that I get to do a video on our WhatsApp group to his smug little face what he tried to us. We'll meet again. I dream of that day. I'd swap this for that. I mean that 100%. 100%.
Just check behind your shoulder, mate. Just check
I've got stuff against the door just in case.
Oh, listen, legends, man. At least you guys have cheered me up a little bit, man. Let me tell you that. Look, big ups to every single one of you coming on. Make sure you're following all of these guys and you've hit like and subscribe on this video. And also make sure that if you haven't done so already, that you're coming to the Hippodrome Casino where me and Lawless and the guys will be for This Is London. Just scan the QR code or there's a link in the description for you to sign up and get your tickets. So please make sure that you do that. And we will look forward to seeing you then. Make sure you're following all of these guys. You've got Total Screamers and AV Billy. You've got Errol, you see on Redmen TV. And you've got his Twitter handle there. You've also got Pete on Loaded Mag NUFC. LB on It's LB. You've got Dan on United First. Lawless at the Lawless Live.
What?
And Charlie at Blue Brother. Eh?
What? Hang on a minute. Since when was Errol, aka the Goat? Have you always been that?
I used to be a Solitaire fan.
I thought it was as well. Where's the Goat come from?
Bro, 2025 rebranding, bro. We're rebranding, bro.
I see that in the chat. He went through the process in the chat.
AKA the Goat.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what? Right, I've actually. It's a long story. Forget about it. But just know. Yeah.
Tell us in the group chat.
You know what? I will. I'll put it in the group chat. And you can let me know.
Put it in the group chat, man.
I'm testing a few things out at the moment, so I'll put it in the group
I love how Lawless remembers that he used to play solitaire, though. That's class.
Yeah, he loved it. You know what I mean? You get the hearts and the diamonds all linked up. Man loves that game as well, Errol. She loves it as well. So she would have been a big fan of your content.
Lawless, what you got coming up, man? You're doing content now, Lawless Live. What you got coming up?
Fulham reactions tomorrow. Look out, Fan Cavs reactions. My channel, West Ham Fan TV. We're all everywhere, man. So it's going to be big.
Love that.
Hopefully,
man.
I'm happy,
Charlie, what you got coming up?
Bournemouth tomorrow. Transfers. We love a transfer window at Chelsea. Hopefully, we might get a win for our first time in 4 Premier League games. So that's what's coming up.
Love that, man. Love that. And Pete, what you got coming up?
Transfers. We've got a match preview with Little Dan tomorrow. We've got Wolves.
Oh,
on
nice.
Wednesday. And then plenty of transfers. We did a fantastic transfer show tonight with Alex from The Athletic. We set him a task of players that he thinks data-wise would be the best choices for Newcastle United. And he's got a video on a centre-back that nobody's really talking about that could be an absolute gem, not necessarily for us, it could be for any of us. So check that out. That drops tomorrow.
Who does he play for?
Well, that's the spoiler, Billy. You got to watch the video.
I was wondering if I was going to get a teaser.
Nobody's talked about him. Nobody's talked about him at all.
Not constantly.
And looking at his stats, he's performing one of the top in Europe. So yeah.
See, outside of England, I assume.
Yeah.
Look, he's like a big kiddie. Is all I want to know.
A little teaser for the people.
It's talking like he's got Emery on the phone out of shot, isn't it? Just hang on. Who is it? Just it's not in Europe. Who is it then? Whereabouts?
I hope Committee was watching because from what we heard tonight, I'd take him like that.
Listen, Johannes has said quick predictions next game. I'm going to go Arsenal 1, Spurs 1. Billy, what are you saying?
2-1 against Everton. Villa win.
Errol?
It's gonna be tough, but yeah.
You're on mute.
You're muted.
2-1 Liverpool Forest.
Big game.
2-1 Liverpool. That's going to be a massive game. Forest away. Wow. Pete?
We've got Wolves at home. I'm going to go 3-1 Newcastle.
Okay. Charlie?
We've got Bournemouth home tomorrow. Go 2-1 win Chelsea.
Okay. West Ham. Who you got, Lawless?
Graham Potter's first home game against Fulham. 2-0 West Ham. Irons.
Okay. Dan?
4-1 Southampton against Southampton. 4-1 Southampton. 4-1 United. Hey, that would just be like United after those two results. 4-1.
No, it would be.
That actually would be so United, but it's not going to happen. Southampton are the worst team in the league by far, in my opinion. So, okay, big up to all of you. Big up to LB as well. Make sure you're following LB. It's LB.
Who have City got?
I don't actually know. Does anyone know who City got?
Brentford away tomorrow. Yeah.
Tough game.
Oh, Bray, what are we gonna do, Bray? I think we're gonna win it 3-1, Bray.
We're gonna smack them up.
Love that impression, man. Love that impression. Listen, people, stay tuned. You're going to be sent over to Hassam. Hassam's live at the moment on A-Listers. That'll be a lit show. So big up to him and everyone over there. We'll see you next time. Take it easy. We're out of here. Laters.